Is Michael J. Cuggino, vendor of a fund designed to withstand inflation and other disasters, hoping for bad times ahead? Perish the thought. Here's his diplomatic take on the protestations from the Federal Reserve that it has inflation totally under control. We're hoping they're right. But he adds, we're managing for them to be wrong. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst. Evidently some investors share the sentiment. They have entrusted $2.9 billion to Cuggino's permanent portfolio, which mixes a small amount of growth stocks with a large amount of defensive assets, short-term bonds, Swiss francs, precious metals and real estate investment trusts. These are unsettling times. The latest government report clocked inflation at 5% over the 12 months through May, double the average rate over the past decade. Will the rate subside? It might not. It might feed on itself. If the price and wage spiral gets worse, Cuggino, crying crocodile tears about the US economy, will probably do very well. He made a small fortune in the last episode of Despair on Wall Street. He could make another. The idea for the permanent fund goes back to Harry Browne, a minor celebrity among hard money fans who enjoyed a spot of limelight as the 1996 and 2000 presidential candidate on the Libertarian ticket. Cuggino sums up Browne's claim to fame. He called the run in gold in the 1970s. Coming off that gilded era for precious metals, Browne came up with a formula for an all-weather portfolio, one that could survive inflation, recession, global unrest and perhaps even asteroids. It was beautifully simple. It called for 25% allocations each to cash, gold, long-term treasury bonds and stocks. Some entrepreneurs with skills in direct marketing put together a mutual fund to implement the Browne philosophy. As an outside advisor to this venture, Browne did no money management, he was only the philosopher and evangelist. The permanent portfolio opened its doors in 1982. The timing was not great. Had it started 7 years earlier, it would have covered itself in glory. But 1982 turned out to be the start of a decades-long bull market in which cash and gold were a drag. The fund management company struggled to bring in assets. A few years later, Michael Cuggino, fresh from an accounting degree at Massachusetts's Bentley College, started an auditing job at the Boston office of a firm that is now part of Ernst & Young. He remembers, they give you some clients and say, here you go, kid. The fund was on my list. While looking over the books, the auditor became captivated by what this client was trying to do, preserve peace of mind for investors worried about prices, interest rates and recessions. Cuggino, 58, thinks back to his teenage years. He says, I remember waiting in lines with my parents for gas to go to my hockey games. I remember $800 gold, the Hunt brothers cornering silver, the oil crises, 15% to 20% short-term lending rates. He remembers recessions, too.